If you're a government employee and you've got a financial advisor, are you making this huge mistake? A few weeks ago, I received an email from William wanting some information on how to book a consultation with us. And the team reached out to him, offered him some assistance, and then he was able to book something. Now, when you book a consultation with us, we actually ask you a series of questions. And we do this because we want to make sure that we get to know you a bit better and also that I prepare for the consultation. I don't like getting into a consultation without being prepared. Now, William provided us with these details, like the sector that he's working in, his years of service. He even emailed us his pension statement because he wanted to get some tax calculations done. And everything was running as normal, right? And then he mentioned, hey, inside of that, hey, he's got a financial advisor. Now, I want to share with you, it's nothing out of the ordinary because, if we have a look at how I work, it's government employees who are 55 and older. But then he threw a curveball my way, right? And what I want to check with you is if you can spot the curveball. And before we get into this, maybe it's a good time for me to do a quick disclaimer. I'm Dhevan Naicker, a retire bus resign specialist working at Retirement Wellness SA, and we help South African government employees save thousands in tax, take control of their money, and protect their legacies for their families. Now, we don't work for the government employees pension fund, and the information that we share is not provided by or on behalf of the GEPF. So government employees reach out to us when they are 55 to 64, right? That's usually the case. And by that stage, they would have naturally, I'm expecting them to have had a financial advisor, right? Think about it. And if you're in that age, chances are you would have needed a life cover or some type of savings or investment, in which case it's normal for you to come in having already got a financial advisor. I want to paint the picture for you, right? So William and his wife come into the scene. They're sitting in the office, and William's sitting forward in his chair, right? He's very eager, like reading his body language. He's very eager, wanting to get more information from me. And I notice his wife comes in and she's like, the body language is very different, okay? So her arms were folded. She was sitting back in her chair and then just like having a look around the room, like just scanning the room. But like when someone's not really paying attention to you, right? It's like that type of feeling I got in from the wife. So not wanting to make any eye contact. So as we continued in the journey, and actually before we even got started into what we were discussing, William says to me, hey, listen, I've got a financial advisor. And I said to him, William, it's perfectly fine that you've got a financial advisor. In fact, I expect you to have an advisor because, you already got to this age now. You're approaching a time where you want to retire or resign. And naturally, you would have needed a life cover. You would have needed some type of savings or education plan. And I said to him, look, listen, why have you not consulted with your advisor about this decision that you wanted to make? Dhevan, I have consulted with my advisor. He's given me some information. He's explained to me about how the options work and which route that he feels is better for me. And I just want to get another opinion. So I said, look, that's perfectly fine. It's no issues. You haven't really left us yet. What's really important for you? And then he says to me, look, it's important for me to save on tax. It's important for me that my money is invested securely. I want to make sure if anything happens to me, my wife's able to benefit and my kids are able to inherit as well. I don't know much about medical aid, but I'm on a medical aid right now. I need to make sure that if I'm going by a resignation, that I do have a medical aid in place. So I said to him, that everything makes sense. Let's go have a look at some of the planning, right? And I shared with him as a starting point. I said, look, there is a very big difference between what we do and a general advisor. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other, right? Our focus is on government employees who have come to that point in their life where, hey, look, it's time to leave, either through retirement or resignation. They're looking for clarity, which route is going to be a better route. They want some understanding in terms of tax calculations. They want to know about investing, about, a lot about who do I trust to make sure that this is going to go according to plan. And a general financial advisor, and again, there's nothing wrong, a general financial advisor can assist with things like life cover, savings, education, and of course that advisor can assist with, that decision of retiring or resigning. Just in our case, I was saying to William, in my case, the focus is specifically on that. It's extremely narrow because we don't want to work with savings, we don't want to work with investing or anything of the sort. We just want to help government employees with this specific goal, right? That specific goal. So when someone's engaging with us, it's for that specific reason. And I said to him, therefore, we won't do any of the other in, like small savings plans or life covers and things like that. So I said to him, there's no one better than the other. It's just what feels right for you. And he said to me, Dhevan, thank you so much for explaining this. And then I asked him, hey, William, what sort of planning has been done so far? And it was quiet initially, so we had a bit of silence. And he said to me, look, he's been explained on the process of how money has been moving. And I could see he had picked up a lot of information from the masterclass. So he was talking me through all of this. And then I said to him, okay, have you worked on your pre-98 tax savings? So he looked at me a bit surprised. And he said to me, look, I don't really know how this pre-98, I've seen some of your videos where you talk about it. My advisor is not really sure on how to calculate that. He hasn't mentioned it. So can you give me a bit of information? In fact, can you calculate the value for me? So I said to him, hey, William, this is quite a technical calculation. There's a process. It can't be done in one sitting, but there's a process that we use in order to determine the exact value. Now, if you're watching the video and you're not sure what a pre-98 savings is, basically government employees who started before 1998 could access a portion of their money completely tax-free. So in William's case, he started working before 1998, so he had access to this value. And it's an additional amount. So SARS in general provides all South Africans with a tax-free amount, right? And currently that's 550,000. But over and above that, if you started working before 1998, you've got an extra portion. So I said to William, hey, William, it is critically important for you to figure out exactly how much this value comes to. And he says, how do I determine that? I said, look, your financial advisor's got to help you with this. They've got to do the calculations. They need to understand. This is why you're actually paying the fee, because you want to be able to get that level of service. And when it's done correctly, you get an accurate value. And when I say accurate, I mean right down to the cent. And it is essential for your planning, because if you want to make sure that you don't leak any money to SARS, then you've got to make sure that you get the tax calculation done. Otherwise, you're going into the solution with your eyes closed. SARS is going to take as much as what they want from it. You're actually not doing any type of planning. So he says, oh, but Dhevan, I don't know the income tax act. I said, good. It's good that you don't know the income tax act. You're not supposed to. This is why you are engaging with a specialist. A financial advisor, Resign specialist, it's our duty to make sure that we know the income tax act. It's our duty to make sure that we understand it. And we naturally then have to provide that information to you in a way that you can understand it, but more importantly, in a way that you can actually apply it to see the changes, right? Because that's really what this is about. That's the whole reason that you're engaging with a financial planner. So as it turns out, not a lot of tax planning was getting done on his side. And I continued the discussion with him. I mentioned to him about the pre-98, I was drawing circles. If you watch some of the earlier YouTube videos, you would have seen me doing this, or if you join the masterclass, how to transfer money into an approved fund, how the tax calculations would take place, what are the opportunities in order for you to save on tax. I guided him on those areas. However, remember, it could not be a detailed calculation for him. William said to me, Dhevan, I want to know the specifics, calculus to the cent. And I said, William, we cannot, because I don't know exactly how much of money you would have when you leave the pension fund. Remember, right now, this is your value. But at the time of your exit, you're leaving a month down the line, 2 months down the line, your value will differ. This is again where the financial advisor's got to be spending a lot of time on your file, making sure that it's done with pinpoint accuracy. I can give you a general overview right now, but again, when it actually comes to doing the work, I've got to be pinpoint accurate. It needs to be that level of detail. So I then asked him, hey, William, talk to me a bit about the investing. What sort of investing has been done for you? Because remember, when you're putting your money into an investment, the markets ebb and flow, isn't it? It means sometimes we're making money, sometimes we're losing money. And markets are unpredictable. We saw what happened in COVID. There was a huge dip. People lost hundreds of thousands, some cases millions. And this again attributes to poor investing. So he says to me, well, his advisor has chosen the funds. He's not sure which funds to invest money in. And this is something I want to caution you on, right? That it's perfectly fine for an advisor to give you options for the funds, but it needs to make sense. So I was saying to William, hey, look, it's okay. Your advisor can make recommendations, but you need to have an understanding, hey, why are we using that particular fund? Or why are we using those funds? Why are we using 5 funds? Why does each fund have to have 20%? See, what's the strategy behind it? And please do not get confused by diversification, because me splitting money into 5 funds or a financial advisor splitting money into 5 funds doesn't mean diversification if we're going 20% in each, right? In William's case, when I had a look at it, he had all balanced funds. He had Allen Gray balance, he had Coronation balance, he had Old Mutual balance, Sanlam balanced. It was all balanced funds, which doesn't make sense because they're all pretty much doing a very similar thing. It's just diversification amongst the investment houses, but nothing specific to say, hey, look, here's the investment strategy. So I said to William, you cannot go into an investment blindly. You cannot. The correct way to do this is to understand you have a pool of money, and from your pool of money, you're drawing out an income and the investment company is charging you some fees. So ideally, you want to make sure the income that you are taking out and whatever the fees are, whatever's coming out in total, your return is enough to either supplement that or grow the capital, right? Ideally, we want more. And William said to me, hey, I never knew about this. I didn't understand exactly why this was taking place. I just was explained. I said, look, it's not too late, because now I want you to go back to your financial advisor. Let's go seek clarity. And he says, well, can't you assist me? I said, look, William, you've already established the relationship. And if you've established that relationship, why not continue on the journey? He says, well, I'm not sure. I'm not confident that my advisor can assist me anymore. I said, look, okay, as a starting point, I've given you some information. You now know more than what you knew before you came in. Head back to your advisor. See if your advisor is able to do the accurate pre-98 calculations. Can they do an investment for you where the capital is going to offer some type of protection? Can they make sure that when you're drawing your income, you're drawing something that's tax efficient? You're still able to grow your capital, that they're able to protect you at the time that you close your eyes, you don't leak a lot of money to SARS. So I gave him these tips for him to go to, right? And then it came up in terms of medical aid. And he says, well, the advisor said to him that he needs to get his own medical aid now that he's coming away from the pension fund because he's losing a subsidy. He cannot be part of the medical aid that's in-house. So I said to him, look, we operate in a different way. I can't question the advisor. Just from my side, I want to get involved in the medical aid, although I cannot give advice on medical aid, but we work with a specialist company that handles all medical aids, and then we use them to provide you with the advice, but we're part and parcel of that because I need to understand, hey, look, do you have the right benefits in place? Have we made certain that you've got the right benefits? Have we made certain that the medical aid is comprehensive? It covers the things specific to you, and you're not paying for things that you don't need. So a number of areas were brought to his attention. Have we made sure waiting periods? And he was completely shocked about it. But there are waiting periods when it comes to medical aid, and we want to make sure that we can avoid, prevent those things from happening. So William was immensely grateful. And then here's the kicker. This is the curveball. I'm going to see if you caught it from the beginning. And I'm grateful that I said to him, hey, go back to his advisor. Because as it turned out, the advisor was his wife's uncle. It was his wife's uncle. So it's perfectly fine. When we might have an advisor that's, relates to us. You might have an advisor that becomes a family friend because you've worked with this person for such a long time. Now, when you transition into something like this, where you are making perhaps the most important financial decision of your career, or maybe even of your life, this huge amount of money, you've got to make sure that you're working with someone who understands exactly what needs to be done, who can work this with pinpoint accuracy, give you proper information, explain things in detail. It's okay that you don't know the Income Tax Act, but you need to be in a powerful position where you know what is taking place, right? And then back this up with regular reviews. I hope the video has been very, very helpful for you. In fact, comment below, let me know what has been your key takeaways from the video. Remember also to click the thumbs up sign so I know that the videos are being liked, giving me some love. And then please share this amongst other government employees. It's important for the government employees as a community to ensure that they are protecting others, helping others to avoid making these costly mistakes. And I'll catch you in the next video.